She thought it was just a small act of kindness, but what happened next stunned the whole restaurant. The moment she walked into the bustling restaurant, Emma felt a strange heaviness pressing on her chest. The warm aroma of grilled chicken and fresh bread barely touched her mood, and the low hum of conversations around her seemed distant, like she was watching life from behind a glass. She had just come from the hospital, where her grandmother's health had taken a sudden turn for the worse. Her heart ached with 1,000 worries, and yet she felt compelled to step into the small cafe near the corner of the street. Something about it called to her, as if it knew she needed a moment of escape, however brief. The restaurant was crowded, every table occupied by people absorbed in their meals, laughter, or phones. Emma noticed a young man sitting alone at a corner table, nervously fidgeting with a cup of coffee. His clothes were worn, his shoes scuffed, and there was a raw, palpable anxiety in the way he glanced at the cashier every few seconds. Emma hesitated. Normally, she wouldn't even think of approaching a stranger, but something about his eyes, those deep, haunted eyes, stirred something inside her. She felt a surge of compassion she didn't even know she had left to give. Before she could stop herself, Emma walked over to the counter, ordered an extra sandwich and coffee, and carried it over to his table. The man looked up, startled, as if she had suddenly appeared out of nowhere. His lips parted, perhaps to refuse, perhaps to ask why. Emma smiled softly and placed the food in front of him, saying nothing. For a moment, the air between them was heavy with disbelief. Then, slowly, he swallowed, and his eyes glistened with a mix of gratitude and surprise. This small act, seemingly insignificant, shifted something in the restaurant. People nearby noticed the exchange. Some watched curiously, others glanced away awkwardly, unsure of how to react. But Emma didn't care. She had no expectation of praise, no desire for recognition. In that instant, she felt the quiet joy that comes only from giving without the hope of return. It was a strange, profound kind of happiness, the kind that fills your chest and makes your heart ache with meaning. After a few moments, the young man spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. He explained that he had been struggling to make ends meet after losing his job unexpectedly. He had been too embarrassed to ask for help and was about to leave the restaurant hungry when Emma's kindness changed everything. As he spoke, the color returned to his face, and the tension that had gripped his body seemed to ease slightly. Emma listened, feeling a mix of sadness and hope ripple through her. She realized that sometimes the smallest gestures could carry the heaviest weight. Meanwhile, the other diners began to take notice. A young mother glanced at her children, pointing quietly to Emma, and a businessman nodded subtly, as if silently agreeing that the world needed more moments like this. The room felt warmer somehow, more alive, as though her single act of generosity had rippled outward, touching lives far beyond her immediate view. Emma didn't expect this, yet she couldn't deny the quiet thrill that ran through her at the realization that one simple choice, one decision to act with empathy, could create such a profound impact. As Emma returned to her own table, she felt an unexpected wave of reflection. She thought about her own struggles, about the loneliness she often carried, the weight of responsibility that pressed on her shoulders, and the doubts that sometimes made her feel powerless. And yet, in giving a stranger something as simple as a meal, she realized that power wasn't always about what you could achieve in life. Sometimes, true strength lay in recognizing another person's humanity, in choosing to be the light in someone else's darkness, even when your own path feels uncertain. Hours passed, and Emma left the cafe with a lighter step than she had entered with. She didn't know the young man's full story, and she didn't need to. What mattered was that she had made a choice to act, and that choice had reminded her that kindness could exist even in the most ordinary moments. But the day's surprises were not over. Later that evening, as she returned to the hospital, she received a call from the cafe. The manager explained that the young man had insisted on leaving a note for her. Trembling with curiosity, Emma opened the envelope to find a simple message. "Because of you, I believe in people again. Thank you for reminding me that there is still hope in the world." Tears blurred her vision as she read the words. She realized then that the smallest ripple of compassion could grow into waves powerful enough to change lives. Emma thought of her grandmother, resting in the hospital bed, and of all the invisible struggles that surrounded her every day. She understood that human connection wasn't about grand gestures. It was about recognizing the struggles of others and extending a hand, even when the world felt too heavy to navigate. The story didn't end there. Over the next few weeks, Emma noticed small changes in herself and those around her. She saw the young man return to the cafe, not just for meals but to offer help to others who seemed lost or alone. She witnessed diners, inspired by the stories circulating online, leaving small notes of encouragement for strangers, or paying for meals they would never claim. One by one, Emma saw the truth she had always hoped for, that even a single act of kindness, when shared without expectation, could create a ripple effect far beyond imagination. It wasn't always easy. Emma faced days where her own struggles weighed heavily on her again, when hope seemed like a distant memory. But every time she recalled the moment in that cafe, the look in the young man's eyes, the quiet gratitude that radiated from him, she felt renewed. She learned that compassion wasn't a finite resource. It grew stronger the more it was given. And in giving, she found healing, a sense of purpose, and the quiet knowledge that even amidst uncertainty, she could make a difference. For those watching this story, consider the ripple you can create in the world today. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of one person to change the life of another, please like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. Moments like this deserve to be remembered, celebrated, and carried forward. Weeks later, Emma returned to the cafe, not for herself, but because she had learned the lesson that had changed her forever. Every life, no matter how ordinary it seems, carries the potential for extraordinary impact. As she walked past the tables filled with strangers, she noticed a small girl quietly giving her father's leftover bread to a hungry pigeon outside. Emma smiled, realizing that these small acts, multiplied across the world, created a web of humanity far stronger than any hardship or sorrow could ever break. Before we close this story, I want to ask you to take a moment and comment below. Share your own experience of seeing or doing something kind for a stranger. Your story, no matter how small, could inspire someone else to take action today. Emma never expected her simple act to be remembered or celebrated, yet it became a story shared thousands of times online, touching lives far beyond her imagination. And though she never sought recognition, the impact of her gesture became a testament to the profound truth of human connection, that even in moments of despair, one small choice, to offer help, to show empathy, to act with love, can leave a mark so deep it echoes forever. The young man went on to rebuild his life, and Emma continued to live hers with renewed hope, carrying the lesson that kindness is not a currency of the privileged. It is the most powerful gift we can give, freely, to anyone, anywhere. And so, dear viewers, if this story touched your heart even a little, please like, share, and subscribe. Remember, your small acts of compassion can create ripples that reach farther than you could ever imagine. In a world that often feels harsh and unforgiving, be the light that reminds someone there is still hope.